It's Thursday morning, truncated week, and everyone is again saying why there is a holiday on Friday. Given that how markets have moved in the first 2 days, the market in essence are clearly indicating that the outperformance is a real deal. The FI monster buying in the cash market is something which is very encouraging. Global cues, some would argue and say that at least this Thursday morning are not that flat and great, but the inertia what Indian markets have rediscovered in last couple of trading sessions, I think is just more than breathtaking. So what are we working with as we walk into trade this morning? Cue number one, the progress on trade talk between US, that's United States, and Japan is fruitful. There is no yes and no or any kind of a hint of negotiation between China and US, so that becomes this gray area. And third, the news on Nvidia in a sense is having impact on global technology stocks, and because of which you actually saw a markdown in Nasdaq. Macros, well, the 10-year paper is at 4.2, dollar is at 99.5, so nothing really scary or nothing unnerving or nothing exciting. So I don't think markets will take a lot of cue from what happened to the US markets last night. Asia is looking okay. Comments from Fed are decent. Net looks like Indian markets will have to chart their own course based on technicals and based on other factors. Aisha, just a reminder to our viewers, you go today, you come back on Monday. So if you're trading, remember there's a 3-day risk. Yeah. Which in a sense is going to be there. So for me, that is an overarching factor for a day trader when it comes to decision making today.
Yeah, the good thing is that, much like China and what we heard last afternoon from them, that they're willing to sit across the table and at least talk negotiations, if not completely conclude that deal. Similar is the case with all the countries. In fact, just comments coming in from Trump saying that they've had a very fruitful discussion with Japan. So seems like progress on negotiations on tariffs is being made with a lot other countries. So here's what happened overnight. While of course the futures are steady after that tech-led sell-off that we had overnight, just want to mark what the US equity market closing was and what kind of handover we've got. While Asia looks stable, that was not the case for the US equity markets overnight. It was a good 2.25% fall that you had for the S&P. The Nasdaq knocked off over 500 points, and the Dow as well was down a good 700 points or so. So that was quite a bit of fall. So Trump trade talks, the military costs with Japan, that is, etc., which was discussed. AMD has warned of tariff hits. Chip giants like Nvidia, etc., have taken a knock overnight. The dollar index is back near a 3-year low. It's currently at that 99.5 mark, and the 10-year yield, that's fallen to a 1-week low, and it's hovering around that 4.9% mark. So while all negotiations, for instance, US sanctions, Chinese importers of the Iranian crude as well. So a lot of negotiations, a lot of back and forth is happening across with countries. Gold prices, they've extended their surge. They're going to now be almost looking to cross that $33.10 per ounce level. But some commentary coming in from Jerome Powell as well, saying that effects of trade policy may move US away from its goals, stating that unemployment could rise as economy slows down, tariffs larger than we expected, even in an upside case. So he's a little bit worried about what the post-tariff world is going to look like and what it's going to mean for US economy. But yeah, like you rightly said, so much volatility. This morning you've got futures which are stable. Overnight it was such a tumble. Asia is actually holding up in the green this morning. So you can't really take big bets and come back after a 3-day weekend thinking that it's all going to be the same.
So if you look at the progress, Aisha, on Trade Talk, you have to acknowledge that the progress is much better than what it was, let's say, 8-10 days ago. 8-10 days ago, it was only retaliation, stalemate. You didn't know. I mean, it appeared that, okay, world's going to stop and no one's going to export, no one's going to import. Trade Talk with Japan is important. Why? Because A, Japan is a large partner. B, Japan or the Japanese central bank is the largest owner of US 10-year paper. You hit them, they will hit you back. I mean, US has understood that. China is where there is silence, there's finger on the lips. Now, is it ego, is it logic, or is it simple, tactics, nobody knows. So that's where I think markets are hoping and anticipating that some breakthrough will happen. Minus any kind of a breakthrough coming from that front, that just may make markets nervous. What is amazing is that why gold is rising. I mean, you would say that, okay, I mean, gold goes up when there's fear in the world. So is gold an indicator, or gold is moving its independent course because of the industry and momentum there? That's the second part, which I think you'll have to really wrap your, head around. Now, when it comes to India specifically, Aisha, last couple of days, we moved independently of the world. I mean, the world has acted as a catalyst, but there are larger factors at play. Short covering, decent numbers, macro, tax collections. So you are on a trajectory where the path of least resistance is actually higher, and staying with the market is very important. So you're a short-term trader, I would say don't take heavy positions, because we go today, you come back on Monday, and there is a 3-day risk, which in this kind of environment you should not take ideally. But if you are in for a long haul, I think you should stay with the market, because earnings reactions so far, even though numbers whatever have come out have not been great, but you've not had very nasty market reaction. For example, TCS, not great numbers, but the market reaction was not that nasty. Wipro, I mean, I think numbers were not great, and I don't expect a nasty reaction because everything is in the price. So markets know that where the bad numbers are, where the good numbers are. Flows are okay, FIs have come back. The market is now moving, has supported key technical levels. In the macro front, tax collection, interest rates, crude, commodity, inflation, all that in a sense is just coming together. And there is disbelief, Aisha. I mean, where are the volumes? Where is the participation? They say bull markets always climb the wall of worry. In this case, there are no worries right now, at least for India, minus global worries. And yet, the momentum or the commitment is not there. So lack of commitment and lack of belief, I think, is the secret recipe.
Yeah.